First, I want to say to our family members that I hadn't seen in a long time, that I finally saw today. It was nice to see you. I was happy to see you. I remembered you. I was glad, and as I said, and I was glad that you came. And we want to tell everybody, all of our everybody to be careful. Our beloved royal family members and our royal kinspeople, citizens people. We want to tell everybody to be careful. As I said, I saw when they came. I saw what the people tried to do to you. As I said, and so they're always trying to hurt us. So we're just looked at too. People see me talking to our family members. They see me talking to people. There are family members that you see some of the people I'm talking to, and people try to stalk and harass. People try to stalk and harass and try to find out who we are because they're just wanted to. They're really criminal and try to send their harlots and their homosexuals to try to hurt us and just sit in there. They're stalking dirty soldier people. Too. So bad you say sentiment not true. People try to stalk and harass us too. So we want to tell you, please be careful, and we love y'all very much. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you know again too. So also they want us to talk to you about the abilities that we did in our field studies and experiments in Russia that one summer. We just finished it too. So we explained to you about these things before, and Mr. Sid. And so what we can do, and we told you about it partially, and so we'll explain to you again about some of the things that we could do. I told you that I don't like to do projecting because of, but it is a thing that you can do. It would be necessary to show that you have won. The bad people, bad use of settlement naturally people, the losers, they try to project and it's just it. And so that's why I don't like to use that because they try to lie with their projection, but there is an honesty and projection, and that's the honesty of a projection that's honest and good works, but that the false one that they try to do, like you hear them say, you lost, that's a lie. They know they lost when they're saying stuff like that. So you lost, and they're lying. So that's their form of projection that doesn't work. So but there is another form of projection, and basically that's honest and good and clear and does work. So one let you get to. Also, I want to say to you, our relative, Nasik, Mr. Balin, which he's not around now anymore, but he still has his films. We showed you that he was able to tell you about the cannibals that came and tried to tell people that we told you about that before, right? And we told you the rest of it, that it's bad to say not sure people you say stalking and harassing and criminal people, they are doing that. He said that it was obviously them in the 60s when they went to a place in South America and tried to hurt the people and tried to get them to give them money and told them that they were gods and stuff like that. Just really quite criminal. Like the devil people, like you see now, the same people, same as it was then before, as will be later too. Also referred to the book of Daniel, book of Genesis, and then referred to the book of Daniel. They would try it again, to mix with fallen things and animals, and they would try to mix with mankind and make these things. And so they said what you see now, 70% of the population is wicked and dirty and unclean and filthy and destined for destruction for all eternity because they did something quite wrong and quite wicked. So I told you that. Also, I was telling you in the last recording that I told you that people try to get up close, and I told you that they're obviously trying to do something. And so they showed me Mr. Ballon, Mr. Ballon, and our relative Nasik Ballon. He showed Bindo. He showed us something that happened in England, and it wasn't Russia. Everybody knows it wasn't Russia. Obviously, the bad use of Saddam Hussein people trying to start trouble because they're trying to take over England. They're not. Russia's not coming to hurt some journalist. Like nobody's coming to do that. No, nobody of ours. So the man was sick, and the feed that he explained that there was a crowd around him that he was trying to get to work, and he felt a pain in his leg. So they said, and then he got really sick, and they couldn't find what it was, but he died from it. And it wasn't a bug bite or anything like that. They had shot him with a pellet, and they found in an autopsy that it was full of ricin. And obviously, it was a bad use of sentiment national people that did that and trying to cause problems with the BBC because they tried to take over England and trying to during the Cold War, obviously, and they were trying to destabilize our kingdom and our family's kingdoms and our people's things that we inherited. We would inherit with our throne and inherit in our kingdom, and they were trying to cause problems. It wasn't Russia because America doesn't like Russia, and the Nazis didn't like Russia either. So they didn't like what the Russians the Russians did to help our people in World War II, because we told you the Russians are Jewish. We wanted to say that again to you too. So they know what they did. So when I saw it, I just like, I know that's not true, that Russia did that. He didn't say Russia did it. He said people say, well, we're defending Russia because we know Russia didn't do that. And they showed the little pellet. It had some poison in it. So they said, so I told you the other day, they get up closer trying to do stuff. And I told you what the woman tried to do yesterday, and she was pulled aside. They found a gun on her. So they said, bad USA settlement, not German person, obviously, and in a green coat, and then the one in the red coat with the fake French accent, also American, doing dirty things and telling lies. Because it said she tried to tell a lie that it wasn't real whatever she was trying to tell, and that's why we made a recording. And the people saw me, and they told me she had tried something crooked. And there's a woman that went around doing stuff to people before, trying to destabilize Switzerland and trying to take it over for Benjamin Settlement, not German people. So did the two. And so, the racing thing, whatever they found, wasn't from anybody better to Settlement, Nazi German people trying to do things. They commit a crime and then try to blame it on somebody else. So just let you know that again too, because I just know Russia wouldn't do that. And somebody said nobody thought Russia did that, but it's Sodomite people, yes. We see how they get up close to me and get smart. They have something. They're trying to do something. They're not get upside in a blind spot and they could stick me with something or do that. They said that the man was in a crowd trying to get to the other side of the street. It was raining, and there's a lot of people around him, so it was people close to him that somebody did that to him. So that's what we're trying to say. They did that to him. Obviously, it was a bad, you say, sodomite, Nazi Germany people, wicked, dirty, filth, garbage, ugly, lying people. And all the day long, they stalk. You see them get smart, just in a red, white, and blue. Not any place but for bad USA sodomite people getting smart and saying, you lost. Even like this evening when I'm coming here, a black American, you lost. The white harlot, you lost. They're lying. This is so they're from projection. So to that too, just really quite wrong and criminal, and they look stupid and they know they lost, and the expression on their face is like the opposite of what they're trying to say. They lost, not us. Me and my beloved our Rothschild family, our Filipino members, our families, our citizens people, and our beloved animals, and all of our very, very large kingdom, everyone's will be beautiful land, holy kingdom, our eternal kingdom, last forever, never destroyed, never to people. Wins. We win. And of course, our beloved royal God is God alone, who's true God and King of the universe, would only be absolutely a winner. So just let you that again too. So now, the field games, or they wanted to see what we could do. And so we told you that we know that the ability that we have, that would be only for when God allows. God only allows these abilities. It's only like when they came and they stormed in our party, and obviously they showed what happened on the camera in our palace, when the people stormed and tried to those two gunmen tried to kill everybody, and for the Baptist Settlement for homosexuality, because that's what they stormed and tried to kill us for, and God killed them. What he saw, he knew it was from God. He knew what he saw was from God. It's ability that God gave us, and when we were little kids, me and my beloved, we would do that. Mr. said, and the grown-up saw that we could do that. This is a field of energy, and he'd make it. We'd make what's in our on our palace walls, and in our castle walls, and modern castle in our bedrooms and things like that, because it's a Jewish castle. Modern castle, and the caravansary in Mardin, we would usually sell a boat from Syria or Israel into Mardin, or from Mardin we'd sail back to Israel or Syria, and business said, and we'd stay at our castle in Turkey. Business said, and then eventually Saddam would stalk and try to harass. They called this to tell the Dadi kids when we told you what happened. That is, Saddam not German people tried to take over our castle. We were having a party. Business said, and some of the castles rented out for stores. Stores, people have stores and things like that, and other parts we lived in. So we were having a party, and me and my beloved husband, we came early, and the workers, the servants, tried to take over. They tried to break our necks when we came. They pushed us into the stairs. They wrenched our necks. The female servant said, it'd be easy to kill your uncle dad. We just feed him food. He'll eat a lot. But they had planned to poison everything. And the other workers did things. We got the female servant. Please just call somebody. Just call somebody. Don't do this. We were trying to. My family hadn't arrived yet. Please just call somebody. She ended up calling the police. All the rest, including her, were arrested. She thought she could just go to jail. But that's not what happened to her. She did go to jail. The others were hung. And they wanted us to see, Turkey wanted us to see what they would do to people who hurt us. They made us watch. And on the stage, there were Bormani people that tried to take over our was imposters trials, and Mandana, aka Lord Des, and Badi's government, they tried to take over our castle, and they said, and Tell Deity, that part is bigger caravanserai. Mardin, this is on a hill, on a mountain hill. This is winter too, and we watched them be hung, and the one man said he'd do it all again. He'd help the Badi people tried to kill us. That's what he said, and then they hung him. And then the guard said, we want you to see what we do to people if they try to hurt you. The woman went to jail. She didn't escape because they found her hung in her jail cell. We just wanted to tell you that. So they called the Tell Deity kids. So different too, because of what happened in the Tell Deity part of our castle. My birth father, my beloved blood uncle, and my birth father, Rothschild, was Sultan of Turkey, and they really loved Dad. He was Sultan of Turkey, Tsar of Russia, Maharaja of India, King of Israel, and also a king of Persia, what people call Iran. My birth mother was his first cousin. She was a princess of Persia. She was part Turkish and part Persian and part Egyptian. So everybody knows that. And his first cousin, my birth dad's first cousin, and I have sisters sisters and brothers. Have sisters and brothers by my dad that had Lillian was his wife, and so her children from him were my brothers and sisters. The Badi Sassanam people hurt them too. They hurt my brother when we were kidnapped and he was trying to rescue me at the airport. I saw him kill him. He was in America waiting to see if they would bring me. They came trying to demand money at our bank. And I didn't remember him. And they drugged me in front of him. And even I didn't remember being in his office, and they drugged me in his office. And he chased the kidnapper to the airport, and he said, Who is that old white man? It was one of their kidnappers, but said, Nazi German people. And they shot him right in the airport in New York. He was from over here. But he was at one of our banks. They were going around demanding money, and they had an old white man stabbing me with a syringe in front of him in his office. They killed my brother. And so they killed our family members. The Badi Sassanam people, they killed him in the New York airport. Trying to rescue me. So we want to tell you what about the Tell Deity and about the castle, Mardin Castle, but the Badis of people stalked and harassed, and we would sell our yacht, quite big. We also sell to other parts of Turkey, like I forget what part right now, and we'd sell it there, and then we'd sell it to that part in Mardin too, and from Israel and from Syria. So we're telling you that the servants tried to take over and they were hung. Now we're going to tell you about the abilities that we have. That's what we're going to tell you about. We have an ability. We had abilities in those experiments. Like I'm able to I have visions and dream visions. We told you about this before. We told you about all these things. And Daniel had dream visions. It's not a dream. It's not a vision. It's a dream and a vision. And they can occur when you're asleep, or they can occur when you're awake. They just occur. Like when I was getting dressed, I had a vision about the man with the crutches. he was like escalating it, and I could tell he wanted to like do something like really really bad, like Archangel Michael said that he would try to do to us, along with the blacker one that was with him, that you say something about Nazi Germany soldiers that thought they got in here and they could try to do things. So I told you the man chased me down the street when I was coming in here this morning, or coming in this evening. He chased. I saw him and I started to walk. He walked really fast with those crutches, and he's right behind me. Everybody saw if you saw the man stalking me. He was harassing me with his mouth. So now, we're going to talk about the experiments. I got a little bit off right now, but obviously wanted to explain these things to you because it's ecstasy. That in those experiments, people saw, because something happened a couple of weeks ago, the man was injured, and I told people, I'd never told anybody what God said to me. I just stopped and asked. I said, God, and I don't know, I didn't know what happened, but it seemed like somebody was hurt. But people were standing around, and I heard one of the workers say that if he doesn't get to the hospital, he'll die. And this is like, whatever happened to the man. And I just asked God, and I told you the must have been a cannibal person. Would you go away? He said, well, go along. And the other policeman was crying. And the other one, I don't know what he was. I didn't see any corner truck. But he said, but he had a badge on. And I'm like, what is he? And he's like, go along. He was just like really just incorrect. And his behavior, and the policeman was crying. He had tears in his eyes. And he was like, can't you look at that? Look how he's acting, that man. And he was in one of those cars that we had numbered, that policeman, but he was crying. And so I was asking God to help the man. And so they said, sit and I said, whatever you would ask God, whatever you would allow, if it's okay, if you want, then let the man be all right. If you want it to be, because that's God gives these abilities, and only God can make these things happen. He can give us abilities, but if he doesn't want it to be, and doesn't want us to be able to use it, he or won't allow it. There's something in the way, then that forbids us from using it. Then we're not allowed to. That's why I said it like that. So God's word from on high was, even if he has to stay in the hospital for a long while, and I said, and then later he's able to leave, like he would be better to be understood. I said, I would think his family, his children, and his wife would like that, even if he had to stay in the hospital for a long time, that they would be happy that he would be all right. I never told anybody. I said, if this is what you would allow, God, and it's okay with you, then I would think it would be okay with them. God would know better than me. But I would just say that his family wouldn't. I don't think they would be sad. It was sad. They would be sad he was hurt, but they would be happy that he was okay, that he was able to still be with them. Then a few weeks later, I never told anybody. Maybe it's somebody who could read your mind. No, I don't think so. Then a few weeks later, I heard that what happened to the man was what we just said to you. I had never told anybody. And then I told him finally, I said, that's exactly what I was standing there for, asking God to help the man. And what will God do if he could help him, if it were allowed? And that's what God told me. So people know what we did in those experiments, some of those things. And we have abilities. But we know that only God will permit us to use the abilities. Only when God will permit it. And it's not anybody but who's God, our beloved old God, the true God, who's God alone, that controls life and death. Not anybody else. Nothing but God. The angels have the right, have the ability to resurrect, but God gave them the ability to resurrect, and only they can use the ability of resurrection when God permits them to do. And they know right from wrong, and they have never fallen, and they are in steadfast service of beloved God, who's God alone. And this is it. It's God who controls life and death. Only God. The true God is God alone. Not those things that went around fooling people and trying to tell lies. This is it. So we know that it's only God. And the angels did not fall, only have the ability to be able to do it. If God allows it, they can't resurrect anybody that's not allowed to be resurrected and live. You know, the resurrection, there are people who come in the resurrection. We after showed us the resurrection. And we also had a resurrection when we built the temple, we saw. So people resurrected live for eternity, and people who are resurrected are bad they die for eternity. People that are bad, die for eternity. So we saw in the reactor, the resurrection, a resurrection will occur, and so we just said, and the people we saw way back. And this one woman, she was resurrected, and she screamed because she was going away for eternity. She must have been really wicked. So we just want to say it again to you too. And so we saw things in the nuclear reactor because the reactor showed the resurrection and showed the God particle. It showed things, beautiful things, and things that we were able to tell you. So now God gives the ability. The angels, we told you, angels that came, that are with us now, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael. There's angels, they can resurrect. But it's only if God allows. Only if God allows. And they're the servants, the children of the sons of God, and they are angels, divine sons. They're angels that we have shown you, even the faces in the sky, for the presence of God. We told you that Archangel Michael and the angels that we mentioned to you are the present, also called the presence of God, the angels of presence or the angels of face. And they can show there's like 70 or more of them, 70, as our rabbis say, and the faces we showed you in the sky. It's the presence of God. Nobody can live and see the face of God. Nobody can live and see the face of God. We know that. So God gives the ability, and those experiments, and we told you, they asked me, and we told you this, so it's not anything new, we told you before. They asked me, why did I choose the field rat? He was really decomposed. And they think it was because that day I told you about the school as a little girl, and I saw a school mouse. And Frances was at her summer job, and I was really quite young and a little girl. Well, I'm still a little girl on the inside, but I was a little girl in size, and I didn't understand. I tried to catch the school mouse, and the jar was too small, and I heard it. And the janitor said it's gone, and I'm like, oh. I cried. I wanted to take it as a pet, and then he got hurt when trying to put him in a jar, and so the janitor took him. No, they figured that's why I picked the field rat, and they stole it, Jenna and Tancredi, because Tancredi could do things, but he could never do anything with something decomposed. The rat had been in the field a long time. And so District 2, and so they stole it because they couldn't do that. We told you that the devil can't do what God would allow us to do. And so we just said, so, and they Russia put the mouse in the field rat in a calendar, and but he looked kind of sad. And everybody said he was probably sad because he knew what they would try to do to me and try to do to me and my beloved or families or people, and what they try to do to our very large kingdom, it was and would be both and whole kingdom, eternal kingdom that lasts forever, never destroyed, the people, but we would make it. And he obviously knew that they would try to kidnap him too. He went missing. And so, as I said, and so somebody stole them, and we know it had to be Benjamin Settlement, not sure people, Tancredi and Jenna, the American government, Benjamin Settlement, not sure German government. This is it. So and so, but it was a field rat that was really decomposed, and Prince William Allen Elenu, he kept making all those dogs. There were dogs. He was really little. he get the dogs that were he asked God to resurrect the dogs that were gone. And my beloved talking actually, he showed his ability. He could do the same thing but we know that it's only for the resurrection. We know it has to be only for that, and only when God allows it. So we did things like that, and other things, other experiments that other beliefs that we were able to show. But they said so. But what they had, they couldn't do anything to decompose. The things in the field were really bad. They were really gone for a long time, and they wanted to see if we could do that, and other things that we were able to do. But it's only if God allows. We told you the man that was in off the coast of Russia and Varna. And I'm telling you, mister, it was only God, because it was only our beloved God, world God, who's God, the true God who's King of the universe. Because when I saw the man get hit by the vehicle, I jumped up from the table and I screamed for God, our beloved world God, who's God, the King of the universe. That's who I asked to help the man. That false woman screamed for that J thing. I'm like, shut up, get away from me. And I walked away. And the man sat up on it. They came and got him quick. And he sat up in the ambulance, tried to put him in. They saw me standing up there looking at him. I waited to get an ambulance. He looked at me and he told them to tell me if I hadn't been standing there, he thought that that he wouldn't make it. I said, it wasn't me. It was our beloved God who's God alone that helped you. So if you're around still someplace and you hear this, I ask God to help you. It's only God, our beloved world God who's God alone, who's King of the universe. And I'm sure the man only believed in our beloved world God who's God alone, King of the universe. And so we just want to let you know again too. So God only allows us to do things when a God says it's allowed. Because there may be reasons why people may have to go, or people, not always that people have done something, but maybe it's just time for them to go, or maybe they need to be have better help in heaven above. Maybe they need to have a cure for something, or whatever the case may be. Does our beloved God, who's God alone, knows everything, and all of us can read a mind. And people try to ruin our neshama. We can neshama and ruah and nefesh. And so they are trying to ruin our neshama and mess with you, eat what you're doing. People try to do things to us all the time. And basically said, so we know that we can read a mind. It comes in handy when somebody's trying to murder you. Like that man that Bush sent to Ukraine. And I know the man wasn't Jewish, and he's I could read in his mind. Bush sent them to try to kill us because they knew they would lose in a court of law. And the man, I read it in the man's mind. And then he says, ask me what it was like, what is it like when you die? He was trying to harass me and scare me. I said, well, if you're wicked, you go to hell straight away. He didn't want to hear anymore. Never mind. It's being smart. It's bothering our Jewish population. So it does come in handy when you if you have the ability to read a mind, because you can tell that the person is speaking duplicitly, that it may be speaking one thing out of his mouth, but it has something else in its mind that's not in agreement with the false words that would come out of his mouth. Like that man that Bush sent to Ukraine, bothering our congregation in Ukraine, in Odessa. That's right. So he came bothering me because he said that to me when I said, well, you go to hell straight away if you're wicked. He didn't want to hear anymore because he had come to try to insult and try to do stuff for Bush. And Bush was a Catholic and a Nazi and not a Jew. And were kidnapped, and when he was trying to when he kidnapped and he was getting smart, Bush was on a kidnapping. He brought all these homosexual people dressed like women. He came to Jordan bothering us. He was involved in kid abduction. He came to try to hurt us. He was going to be arrested before the police sting, and we had a police sting had a police sting. He ran. He was going to be arrested, and he ran. They made him something over there anyway. He was really wicked. And so his brother had had a brother. His brother, and they were eating our relative who was part of that. Her first job was at the Hague. She was a royal princess. She was like 21 years old. She said everybody who did that when Process Charles and all that was with him, Process Charles would pay. I saw her. There was a blood from her head. We were in Bulgaria. She was trying to help rescue me. The kidnappers were taking me to Bulgaria. Bush showed up with his brother and him. One was eating a thigh and one was eating a leg, and they were saying one was a thigh leg and one was a leg. One was a thigh man and one was a leg man. And they said they heard it was a royal. They ate our relative. Now, but they're sorry again. And I probably remember what happened, and I could tell everybody in Der Haag what had happened to our relative. And this is it. And so and she was like 21 years old, and that was her first job, and she wanted to work for the Hague. She's a princess. So she said, too, they're the cannibals. Everybody was in Pastor Charles is a cannibal. And they bragged about it. They're ghouls. Everybody with him is a ghoul. And so they said, so they're cannibals, these people. So 7% of the population is a cannibal population, and 7% is homosexual. So just that too, so they wouldn't have any kind of anything except that they could hurt people, and the good people, they're not going to be able to hurt us people. And so we know that we're supposed to hold on to our beloved God, who's God alone, who's true God, is King universe, with his pinions over us, and we can hug God. We hug God. I see us hugging God all the time. I ask God to hold us. We know that's we're in that configuration. We know it's beautiful. And we know people that are in the configuration and that prayer and that seal, they know too. They can feel it. So they try to keep us from being able to post these the prayers and the different languages, because we know that people can feel it. We want people to be able to see it too. So the people are trying to keep us from doing that. Don't get any blessing. We know you can feel it even if you don't see it, but we want you to be able to see. So you can just see. We know only people that can be will be able to receive the blessing. We know that even though you see the ... that means you're in there, and we'll post like we have posted so far for everybody that's with us, so you'll be able to see in the different languages. God gave me a ability. As it said, so gave it. Mordecai had the ability too, and so I'm named after, I'm Esther. My name is also Queen Esther Hadassah, and my beloved husband, actually, his name is Azrael Harris. We told you we have very long names. And so, and my blood uncle, my husband's birth father, Mordecai. So we know that we're real. My birth mother was a princess of Persia, what people call Iran, and my birth father, Rothschild. So we just want to let you know again too. We're telling the truth. We're not lying, and we have these beautiful things that God has given us ability. Our relative Uri Geller, Abadod Nasik Uri Geller, he said, "Don't never tell people everything you can do." He wished he had never told people what he could do. They were harassing him, but just not sure people were going to get him or trying to harm. He never flubbed. He was just on a Johnny Carson show, and he was getting death threats and kidnapping threats because they couldn't harness what he could do. But he never flubbed. And he told Mr. Carson, who's Jewish, what had happened, and he was being threatened. So he didn't flub anything. We just want to let you know again, too. Okay, so basically, that's it. I think is what we're supposed to tell you, but about the abilities that God has given us. But they're from God, and only God can allow when those things to happen. And nobody has the ability unless God allows it. And the angels that did not fall, Archangel Michael, all those beautiful angels that did not fall, they have the ability too, but they're not allowed to use that unless God says for people, people can be resurrected. Like one time, we were it happened in Jordan, and they were trying to take over our Peace Hotel. And only we would stay there, and they kept trying to bed us down. Not sure people come and try to kill us and try to do things to hurt family members in our hotel. And basically said, we own that hotel. It's really strange how the hotel is made, but it sits on a hill, and so the upper part is on a higher. Well, the first floor is on a, well, the how it's made. If anybody's ever been there, it's different. It's made different. So which is too. So they would come and they tried to hurt us. They hurt our family members in a hotel. We told you before what they did to family members in a hotel. It's a nice hotel, and they tried to take it over. Because they said we were kidnapped. They did things to family members. Were trying to rescue us. They did things to family members before. And so we were having a police thing to arrest the bad people that did things to our family members and people that were trying to rescue us and tried to, and they were hurt, and that were hurt before. So just into basically that's it. And they came trying to stalk and take up the hotel, and they couldn't do it, and they did things to people, and they were involved in our kidnapping and abduction, and people that lied, but we tell the truth. And we told you all these things before what happened, but we'll only be able to use the ability that we have we have, unless only if God allows. And so the angels that did not fall stayed in the hotel too. That's right. They stayed in the hotel. We were in a hotel one time, and the beds of dynamite industrial people that were trying to take over the hotel, a nice hotel, and we have it linked with the hospital. And people have to get a treatment. We give them. They can use their insurance at the hotel. They can claim their insurance and get credit for it, and we give them a discount to have the breakfast included. Give them a discount, Mrs. said, and people who want to go to the nearby hospital. So Mrs. said, and so it's nice, and all of us would stay at the hotel. And Mrs. said, so one time when the angels were staying there, and Mrs. said, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael. When we were there last time, we had to stay in their room, and we stay in our room. And we stayed in our room too, but they had a bigger room where they stayed in. All of them stayed in a room. So we were short. We used a shower when we were little kids in that room, and we were electrocuted. They had rigged something up to the shower so we would be electrocuted. And Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Uriel found us and resurrected us, resuscitated us. And we know that they're only allowed to do that if God allows. We have been shocked, and we were out, and they brought us to. So we obviously had we had hurt very severely, where we were unconscious, and we know that they brought us back. So we just wanted to. I'm sure this would happen. So we just wanted to tell you that we're really quite small. They had the Betty Society Germany people trying to steal the hotel, had electrified that whole, that you could see in the closet. It was if you go outside of the room, it was connected to the shower was hooked up by a closet where there was an electrical current that would have come through the shower, and the angels found that, and they told us what had happened. Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael, and Bishop said so Gabriel, and so the angels that were there at that time, Uriel. And so we just let it again too. And so we know that they only have the ability if God allows them to do. Like Elijah, never once did anything serve our beloved royal God, who's God of King of the universe, and only ever claimed and only ever said he was a servant of God. And he went to heaven alive. My husband and I lived as Elijah and his wife. I was a little girl. He had to try to help raise me. He helped raise me, and we both went. We both went to heaven. And we didn't die. But that was that time period. Our God never dies. God never dies. God has never died once, never has to die, never will die. God is awesome. Woo, supreme. Wouldn't die, doesn't have to die, won't die, and refuse and kill you for being wicked. That's our God. He's awesome. That's God, our God, the true God, who is King of the universe. The God is, I have no words. He's just everything. Everything beautiful, good, kosher, halal, correct, awesome, supreme. Our God is God alone, the true God, King of the universe, is supreme. So we just want to say it again to you too. Okay, the ability at the party. I know you're wondering what it is. Okay, well, in our castle in Marden, we would do things as a little, when the grown-ups saw, we showed you and they tried to steal that, and it's our castle, and so we even they kept trying to storm it, and so we let them rent some of the rooms if they want to have a honeymoon or a wedding or whatever, and their honeymoon at the castle. That is not German people tried to take it over. We even have chairs in there that were made of gold. The handles made of gold. They tried to break the handle off of a chair. That's right. It was still bent the last time we saw it, and we had to fire all the servants because they were involved in abduction, and they tried to they tore that crooked policewoman up. She was in Pastor Charles. They got her. She tried to they tore her up. They got them, I told Bubby, I said, Bubby, I have a problem with servants. They act up. She said, if you get a servant says remain and stay, you can keep from the same servants and it's less problems, from a line of servants. But they got caught trying to take over Martin Castle. And that's where Telededi is too. And so, make them short, they were fired. They tried to do something before they were fired, and they never going to be fired. We don't rent the rooms anymore, but they tried to take that castle, and they couldn't. So, they tried to storm that castle and tried to take it, and they weren't able to. But on the walls, there's a Star of David. It's old in our rooms, and the half moon is Star of David. So we would do as little kids the half moon and Star of David in an energy field. The grown-ups saw that when we were able to do that. So at the party, they were able to show what happened when the people came and stormed our palace that Abadot Zav made for us. We were able to finish it. He thought he would be able to finish it. He tried to finish it. My husband was able to finish it for us. And that's where we had our my queen party. Abadot Zav, King Hussein. He made us a palace. And he was able to finish, we were able to finish it. My beloved comes up, so was able to finish it. And that's what our party was. And the people came and stormed Bedi settlement. German people stalked some kind of way and got there, crashed into our party, shot the doorman, our guard at the door, and threatened us with sodomy. You take a sodomite. It's a Beyonce, a Janet. It's a homosexual. Mr. said, and they were sick. When they shot, I put up the shield. He saw. It was the Star of David, energy field. He called me the devil, that black dirt, fake Ethiopian garbage. He shot himself. He knew it was of God. And then there's those energy balls, because those have the ability to do that too. And the gunmen were frightened because they knew that it was of God. They shot our guests. They shot our family members with us. Everyone was with us. That could be Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Rothschild's dad, our people. Our people were there. My husband's parents, everybody was there. That could be. And they shot them. But they survived. Everybody survived. They shot me. They shot my husband. They shot him in the face. I saw that bastard shoot him in the face. Excuse me, my language, but I saw. And was able to heal them with the help of God. Not me. God healed us. But the gunmen left and died. That black gunman saw that shield and saw what happened. He, not the devil, he's the devil. The black man that tried to shoot us with the white man, he blew his own brains out. And the white man tried to get away. It's not funny. He tried to get down the long flight of stairs. He tripped and blew his own head off. That's our God. Our God is like that. Our God will do things like that to wicked people. So we just want to say it again to you too, because that's what happened at that party. And people who were hurt, I asked God to heal. And obviously my beloved husband, we would be able to ask too. And Prince William and Elena was injured too. And Mr. said, I asked God to heal everybody. And I just cried when I saw what they had done. That I'm not sure people stormed into our party November 2018 and crashed our party. Really wicked what they tried to do. Found out where we were some kind of way and shot everybody like they could, but they didn't go with it. That's why we also know that, and there were obviously cameras and dependents, by how we inherited Nepal, they killed them. There's obviously cameras in the palace, and nobody's killing their family for a harlot. They're really stupid. They want to pass off some kind of law like that. Obviously, we knew that German people tried to take Nepal. They came and stormed our party and tried to kill everybody at our party, and they lost because God destroyed them. So there were films of that energy field, and that's they were able to show to some people. Our people were able to show to some other leaders that world leaders that would happen that at that party that at my queen party that we had. And so they saw the energy balls and everything to try to fend off the attackers. It's a shield that God has given the ability whenever God allows. It's only going to be when God allows. And God would not ever help the wicked. We know. In 2022, so God would never allow that. God would not heal. Let us heal wicked things or dirt things or devil things. The angel said, when they told us that the bad people would try to rub their crotch rod on everybody, when we were little kids, what's that? We said, you'll be explained this later. And the angel said, nobody's healing anybody with rotted crotches. We know 75% of the population has rotted crotches. And they become extinct. They get destroyed. By our beloved royal God, who's God, King of the universe, of the true God. Our God's the true God. And so we're just going to tell you these things again, too. Okay, now we'll talk to you as soon as we can. And try to be careful because we have to put up the parsha so you can see. And it's Shabbat this evening, Friday evening, Yom Shishi, it'll be Shabbat. And so we just, that Yom Shabbat, it'll be evening of Yom Shishi, it'll be Yom Shabbat. And Saturday is Yom Shabbat. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk to you about this. We want to have Shabbat like we have in the center. That everything closes down Friday afternoon. How does it sound, people? And then you have from Friday afternoon and all the Saturday off. Friday afternoon, things close down early. You close things down at 12 in the afternoon. But before Shabbat, if people want to work a little bit longer, you have to close before Shabbat. You have to know it's the most awesome, beautiful feeling. You have so much energy. And then everything's closed on Saturday, Yom Shabbat. And then if you want to open up after Shabbat is over, business can open up if they want. I like to shop when Shabbat is over. It's so beautiful. I get nice things right afterwards. If some people, everybody doesn't have to open after Shabbat. But after Shabbat, Saturday, Yom Shabbat, after Shabbat is over with. But people who want to can. And then everything's open. The first work day of the week is Sunday, Yom Rishon. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, party day, but you still work. Friday, afternoon, you close early. And you're having Shabbat. And then you're preparing for Shabbat. You have Shabbat. And Friday evening, Yom Shishi, and Yom Shabbat. We have Shabbat on Shabbat, Yom Shabbat, Saturday. And so we want to do it like that. So everything closes down early on Friday, and you can work until Shabbat comes Friday evening. You know, there's a Shabbat hours. You can do that, but you can work 6 days a week. But on the 7th day you rest. You have to be able to know this is awesome feeling. So we want to do things like that. We want like that, and so we want to have our Shabbat. And it's just so we have close down early Friday before Shabbat, and then in some places most likely sometimes don't even open because it's so close to Shabbat. So on Friday. So we have all of Saturday off, Yom Shabbat. And if you want to open up after Havdalah, have your business open and whatever you have, you can do that. The Carrefour, they open until midnight. So you can open up after Yom Shabbat and Saturday night and have your hours late and people can shop. They want. And the first birthday of the week is Yom Rishon. Sunday. Okay, we'll talk to you as soon as we can. Try to be careful with alert and prepare for Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom when it comes, and we'll put the parsha up so you can see. We'll talk to you later. Be most careful, safe, and on. Be good. Be most careful, safe, and on alert, and be good. Is our beloved God, is God alone, King of the universe. The true God. Our God is awesome. We'll talk to you later.